the Old Style, Saloon number 10. This is the only museum in the world with a bar in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that's why I hang out here. I love museums. Well, anyway, I know why you're all here today. You're here to watch me play some cards, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to do that for you. First, let me introduce the friends I'm playing with today. Charlie Rich, come on out. Charlie Rich, gambler from Cheyenne. Next up, we got Captain William Massey, a retired riverboat captain. There he is. Why did you retire early? All right, Carl Mann, get on out. This is Carl Mann, owner of the Saloon 10. And last but not least, everybody's favorite guy in the bar, the bartender, Harry Young. Come on out, there he is.
Hey.
All right, like I said, I'm going to play some cards for you. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am James Butler Hickok. Folks nowadays, well, they like to call me Wild Bill. You know, I was born in Troy Grove, Illinois in 1837. Quick, how old does that make me? 39, exactly right. Well, anyway, when I was just a kid, I worked on the family farm outside of Troy Grove, but I wanted something more. So I got myself a job. It was a job driving freight. Oh, I loved it too. I got to get out on my own, see some of the country I hadn't seen before, and work on my pistol handling. Yeah, I got real good out there too, shooting at small game and such. It was like a big adventure. Till the Civil War broke out. Yeah, then the Union Army came calling for me. And I fought for the Union during the Civil War. My family, well, they were abolitionists. They did not believe in slavery. I was a scout and a spy for the Union. Oh, I liked that too, except for the fact that I got shot twice. I got captured twice, but I escaped twice and I made it through. After the war ended, I liked that scout so much, I went out on the new frontier with General George Armstrong Custer. Yeah, I did a little scouting for him, but I always wanted to be a lawman. So that's what I did. I traveled all over Kansas Territory and Nebraska Territory looking for a marshal job or a sheriff job. Till eventually, I landed me some. First one was right there in Monticello Township, just outside of Kansas City. Oh, a few other places like Hays City, Dodge City. Ended me up in Abilene, Kansas after a while. Well, see, Abilene, I got the job as marshal there. There's this pesky bar owner, a Texas cattleman by the name of Phil Coe. Well, me and Phil, we argued every time we saw each other. Yeah, it was like we didn't see eye to eye on anything. Well, you know how them arguments is gonna turn out. They're gonna come to a head someday. And it did, right there in the streets of Abilene. Oh, I shot Phil Coe dead. But he had a lot of friends that day. A lot of confusion. I saw movement in the shadows, turned quick, shot again. Shot my deputy, Mike Williams, dead right there in Abilene. That was a bad day. I didn't want to be a lawman anymore after that, so I gave it up, and I moved on. Oh, I bounced around from town to town doing odd jobs to survive, like wagon master, teamster, a little more scouting. Anything I could do to earn a little money and play cards like these lucky guys are doing right now. Oh, like they're doing right now. There they go. Well, that was a close one. I didn't think we were going to find a game back here today. Well, anyway, yeah, all right. As I was traveling around the West playing cards and such, I run into a friend of mine, Buffalo Bill Cody. Yeah, I know you know who he is. Well, Buffalo Bill, he tells me he's taking a Wild West show out east. Wants me to join him. So I thought about it a while. Finally I said, sure, Buffalo Bill, let's take that Wild West show out there and show them Easterners just how wild it really is out here. Truth be told, I didn't care for that all that much. Nah, some people are showmen and some people aren't. Buffalo Bill, now there's a showman for you. Me? Not so much. Oh, and if you can believe this, there was even people out there that called me a bad actor. I know, I did the same thing. I laughed at him and then I shot him. No, I didn't shoot him, I was kidding. But I did tell Buffalo Bill, I said, this is not for me. You know, we'll still be good friends, but I gotta be moving on. So I did. I left it behind me again. Oh, I moved around for a little while longer, doing a lot of that stuff I talked about earlier. Actually, just looking for card game in any town I could find me one in. Till I run into another friend of mine. Turned out to be the best friend I ever had in my life. Colorado Charlie Utter. Yeah, Colorado Charlie. Just so happens he's bringing a wagon train to these Black Hills. Deadwood in particular. Oh, they just discovered gold up here. People were flooding in here by the thousands seeking their fortune. You know, I was no different. I wanted my fortune too. So I hopped that wagon train with Colorado Charlie, California Joe, Preacher Smith, Calamity Jane, and a few others, and we headed to Deadwood. Oh, by the way, all those rumors you've been hearing about me and Calamity Jane, not true. Have you seen her? Oh. No, that's not fair either. Calamity is a friend of mine, but I was a married man when I came up here. I just married Agnes Lake Thatcher. Oh, we had a wonderful wedding down there in Cheyenne, and then I whisked her away on a honeymoon to Cincinnati. Yeah, we honeymooned in Cincinnati a bit. I left her there, told her I was headed back west to make our fortune. Well, I got to Deadwood on that wagon train with Charlie, and I prospected a bit, sure. That really wasn't my thing either. I knew, though, with all those people and all that gold, yeah, there'd be some card games I'd get into. That's how I'm making my fortune, right there at the card tables. This looks like a pretty good game over here. Who's winning? Oh, Captain never wins. I don't believe you. No. Anyway, I'm sure these folks are all sick of listening to me talk by now. So, who was that? It sounded like Jack and Cole. Shut up, Jack! I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go find that guy and I'm gonna kick him around a little bit and then I'll be back to play some cards with you fellas. We'll see y'all in a few.
Hi folks, and welcome to the Old Saloon number 10. In a few moments, you'll step back in time to witness what happened on that fateful day, August 2nd, 1876, when Wild Bill Hickok was gunned down by crooked-nosed Jack McCall. The employees of the number 10 will set the scene for you, so sit back, hang on to your sarsaparilla, and we'll start from the beginning. It was during the latter part of August, 1875. Frank Grant and a party of 7 gazed down into a gulch of tangled, broken trees, which from then on was to be known as Deadwood Gulch. They made their way to the bottom and began to pan for gold. Soon the cry of gold echoed up and down the canyon walls. They hastily built a crude cabin east of their find, but nevertheless went on to prospect throughout the northern hills, only to return on November 8, 1875, to post a claim of their discovery. On the very next day, November 9, 1875, a second group filed a claim just short of 3 miles up the creek. This outlined a stretch that was destined to become known as the richest placer claim area, not only in North America, but the entire Western Hemisphere. As news of this bonanza leaked out, the rush was on, resulting in a flood of mankind from all directions. The Army could no longer stop the invasion of the fortune hunters. By August 2nd of 1876, Deadwood Gulch, now known as Deadwood City, and often referred to as Sin City, had acquired a worldwide reputation as a booming metropolis. Its surrounding hills and creeks were loaded with gold. Even greenhorns were said to be able to find nuggets, well, as they put it, bigger than horse turds. Its streets were lined with substantial businesses, offering everything from an opera house to dance halls, saloons and banks, stores of every sort, but mainly saloons and gambling dens. Deadwood Gulch was jam-packed with every variety of mankind, good and bad. The likes of Wild Bill Hickok, Seth Bullock, Wyatt Earp, Calamity Jane, Colorado Charlie Utter, California Joe, and Preacher Smith. Somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 of them. They came with greed or lust and high ideals, but the frenzied excitement that Deadwood provided well satisfied their pioneer spirits. Two guys named Nuttall and Mann couldn't picture themselves seeking their fortune as prospectors, and instead built a house on their placer claim, number 10, which became known as Saloon number 10. On the morning of August 2nd, 1876, Harry Young was tending bar in the number 10. His hair was greased, as was customary for bartenders in gold camps. This was essential as part of a method used by bartenders to collect a little extra loot for themselves. Before reaching into a prospector's poke for a pinch of gold to collect for a given whiskey, the bartender would rub his fingers through his greasy hair, thus oiling them well. He would deposit the unoiled gold dust into the boss's take, and by again rubbing his fingers through his hair, redeposit the oily flakes where it could be washed out later. It's said that there was a bald-headed barkeep who was known to have half a dozen hair pieces, all well oiled. His take was enormous, as the laundering process was more efficient. The dance hall girls had arrived on Colorado Charlie Utter's wagon train in late June, ready and willing to entertain the thousands of eligible prospectors. Some came with hopes of finding the right man. Others came simply to make their own fortune. Their attire, somewhat more revealing than what was thought to be proper, was looked down upon by those trained in ladylike etiquette, but nonetheless, they brought to the gold rush an air of reckless, dazzling excitement. By August 2nd, 1876, they were well established up and down Deadwood City's main street, working around the clock in one fashion or the other. Honky-tonk piano and their songs of promising spirit filled the air. Many an unlucky prospector could find hope for tomorrow, for he knew what the night would bring. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Wild Bill Hickok entered Saloon number 10, seeking a little poker action. Charlie Rich, a gambler from Cheyenne, Carl Mann, owner of Saloon number 10, and Captain Massey, a riverboat captain from Missouri, were engaged in a game of draw poker and were quick to invite Bill to join them.
Sure, I'd love to play. Thanks for asking.
Wild Bill's reputation demanded that he be exceedingly cautious. For instance, he never liked to sit with his back to the door. The vacant seat was so located, and a lively debate between Charlie Rich and Bill resulted in an attempt on Bill's part to get Charlie's chair.
I've been winning all day in this one. You know what? I don't care how lucky it is for you. Get out of my chair, Charlie. Good luck. I'd rather...
Bill was not given his request, and grudgingly, with great hesitation, took the empty chair. But after a few minutes, he stood up and again asked Charlie for his chair.
Dang it, Charlie, I need that chair and you know it. Now get out of there. Oh, I'm winning this one.
Bill didn't win this argument either, and on this rare occasion, he settled down, sitting with his back to the door. Wariness, though, kept Bill alert, for all knew him to be a left-handed drinker, leaving his right hand free to handle his pistol. As unpredictable as card games are, Bill found himself quickly losing to Massey, who had lost to Bill the night before. Bill asked Harry for $15 worth of pocket checks. Harry brought them over to Bill and returned to the bar and his duties. Soon, a shifty drifter known as Jack McCall entered the saloon. Bill quickly turned while drawing his gun. Recognizing McCall as a newcomer to town, he greeted him with a friendly,
"Howdy, Jack."
then reholstered his gun and resumed the
That
game.
kid was in here last night playing
Jack
cards.
slowly circled the table, pausing briefly behind each player and analyzing each hand.
How about a shot of whiskey now, Harry? Oh, there ain't no such thing as enough. Come on, let's
Wild
have
Bill's
some.
attention was on Massey. There was a friendly argument between them, and Wild Bill remarked,
Massey, you know I'm going to take all that money you got over there. Why don't you just throw it in there now?
upon returning directly behind Wild Bill, suddenly Jack McCall,
Take that, damn you! Don't shoot! Don't none of you move!
the bullet struck Bill in the back of the head, coming out of his left cheek and lodged in Captain Massey's left arm. It was discovered soon after the cards Bill was holding were aces and ace, forever known as the dead man's hand. All fled the saloon except Carl Mann, who was held at bay by McCall. Jack snapped the trigger of his gun several times. It failed to fire. He then ran out the door and up the street. He was found hiding in a building behind a butcher shop. Later on in the day, he was tried in a miner's court. The jury, being tainted and influenced by a deceitful defense, found McCall not guilty, and he was released. This decision not only outraged the judge, but also the general populace. McCall left the camp in haste. Upon reaching supposed safety in Wyoming, he began bragging of his ignoble deed. Word of this reached the U.S. Marshal, who tracked McCall down, arrested him, and sent him to Yankton to be tried again in Dakota Territory. It was determined, since the first trial was held in Indian Territory, that it was not legal. McCall was found guilty and hung for his cowardly crime. He was buried in an unmarked grave on the edge of town. Later, as the town grew, the cemetery was moved. As the coffins were opened, one corpse was found with a rope around its neck. It was easily identified as Jack McCall, the assassin of Wild Bill. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking your time to allow us
Let's
to
hear to my volunteers. They did a great job. Oh, yeah. I miss those guys. Thank you guys very much. We're all out here about. Hey, we'll be up here for pictures just as long as you need us to be, all right? If you want a picture with me or a picture with all of us or with Jack or whatever, come on up. Don't be shy. Oh, hey, this is not a spit tune either. Do not spit in that thing. Thank y'all so much for coming to the Saloon 10. Stick around. There's a lot of stuff to do here. There's gaming, there's food, there's liquor, there's soda for the kids, and there's a band in here 9 o'clock tonight. Thank y'all for coming. Have a great Deadwood day.